The mansion was always silent at this hour. Late afternoon sunlight floated through tall windows, landing on polished marble, on delicate crystal, on art pieces imported from countries none of the owners had ever visited. The world inside the Beaulieu estate was curated. Every object had a price, every person a role, which is why the sound felt wrong. A piano, not hesitant, not playful, flawless. Notes shimmered through the empty halls, crisp and powerful, as if someone had opened a window into another world. It was not background music, not something meant to fill silence. This was expression. It was the kind of music that belonged on a stage, under lights. Not here, not in this house, certainly not under the hands of a maid. A silver car pulled up at the entrance of the mansion, and Marianne Beaulieu stepped out, her riding boots clicking against stone. She had just returned from her equestrian lesson, whip still in hand, breeches immaculate. At 18, she carried herself with the careless confidence of someone who had never heard the word no without consequences. She was used to perfection. She expected it, which was why she froze when she reached the threshold of the music room. Inside, seated at the Bosendorfer grand piano her mother had flown for Vienna, was Elise, the maid. Hair tied in a simple bun, plain uniform, hands moving across ivory with impossible ease. Beautiful and absolutely unacceptable. Marianne's voice sliced the air. "What are you doing?" The music died. Elise jerked her hands away from the keys as if burned. She rose from the bench, cheeks draining of color. I'm sorry, Miss Marianne. I didn't think." "You didn't think," Marianne repeated, stepping forward, whip tapping against her boot. "That piano costs more than you will ever earn cleaning this house. Who told you could touch it?" Elise lowered her gaze. She was 46, but in that moment, she looked so small, so vulnerable. "No one. I only wanted to." "To what?" Marianne's lip curled. "Play pretend? Try on someone else's life." Before Elise could answer, the door opened again. 3 girls entered. Marianne's friends, all wearing the same elite school uniform, all trained in the same art of effortless disdain. Camille, Audrey, Margot. They took one look and stopped. Camille laughed. "Oh my God, was she actually playing?" She pulled out her phone. "Marianne, don't move. This is perfect." Elise stood frozen, hands clasped in front of her apron. The piano behind her gleamed like a forbidden treasure. Camille began filming. Marianne faced the camera, voice-dripping performance. "You know what I find absolutely fascinating? How the staff becomes obsessed with our lives, as if wearing our uniforms and touching our things could make them anything more." Laughter. Elise's throat tightened. She had survived many indignities in her life. Poverty, violence, loneliness, but nothing felt like this. The mocking eyes of children she had watched grow up. Children who had never worked a day in their life, but believed themselves superior by birthright. "Go on," Marianne said. "Show us." "Miss, you played when no one was here. Now do it while we watch. Unless you'd prefer I send this video to my mother and tell her you go through our belongings when we're gone." Elise's breath trembled. It would mean losing her job, her room, her roof, her safety. She walked to the bench. Saturday. Placed her fingers on the keys. Camille zoomed in. Elise inhaled. Then she played. The first note silenced the girls. It was not clumsy or childish. It was exquisite, flowing, alive. Something ancient and wounded and beautiful poured out of Elise's hands. Not showy, not loud, but devastating. Margot's mouth parted. Audrey forgot to breathe. Camille's filming hand trembled. This was not a maid dabbling. This was a musician. It sounded like Chopin, but deeper, darker. A piece that came from memory, from grief, from a place forged in solitude. Marianne's face changed. Confusion, then discomfort, then something sharper. "Stop," she whispered. Elise didn't hear. Her eyes were closed. For a moment, she wasn't in a borrowed mansion surrounded by marble and judgment. She was herself. She was free. The piece ended on a whisper. Silence. Then, the doorbell rang. Footsteps hurried. The housekeeper appeared, breathless. "Miss Marianne, there's a man asking for Elise." "What? Who?" The housekeeper hesitated. "He arrived in a Rolls-Royce." Marianne blinked. "A what?" "A Rolls-Royce. He said he is her son." The girl stared at Elise as if seeing her for the first time. Elise stood, smoothed her uniform. A strange composure settled over her, a dignity that didn't belong to someone who scrubbed floors for a living. "I must go," she said softly. Her voice was no longer small. At the entrance stood a black Rolls-Royce Phantom, gleaming like a dark sea. The driver opened the back door. A tall man stepped out. Late 20s, immaculate navy suit, subtle cufflinks, the posture of someone accustomed to applause. His eyes saw only Elise. "Mother," he said warmly. He embraced her. No hesitation, no shame. Marianne's friends stared from the balcony. "Is that really her son?" Audrey whispered. "He looks like someone from a magazine," Margot said. Camille kept filming, but now her expression was shaken. Elise whispered something to him. "Philippe," that was the name the driver used, nodded. He turned to Marianne and her friends politely. "Forgive me for disturbing your afternoon. I finished rehearsing earlier than expected. The orchestra in Paris awaits feedback on the Vienna program." Marianne's world tilted. "You conduct an orchestra?" He smiled. "A few. Berlin last month. Vienna next month. But Paris is home." Silence. Camille lowered her phone. All three girls were speechless. Philippe opened the car door for Elise. "Ready?" She hesitated. "Just a second." Then she turned to Marianne. "That piece," she said. "It wasn't Chopin. It was mine, inspired by him." Marianne's lips parted, but no words came. Elise sat in the back seat. The door closed. The Rolls-Royce pulled away. The mansion remained behind, suddenly too large, too cold. Philippe drove. Elise watched the trees pass. Her hands were still trembling from the music, from humiliation, from awe at the fact that she had finally used her hands for something other than cleaning. "Mother," Philippe said gently, "you shouldn't hide who you are." Elise shook her head. "You know why I had to? After your father died." "I know." He reached for her hand. "But the world is not what it was." Elise laughed softly. "Yes, it is. We just pretend it isn't." Philippe stopped at a red light. "Maestro Bernard heard your piece." Elise froze. "What?" "He wants it for the gala. He wants you to play it." "I can't." "You will," Philippe said. "You've been invisible too long." Elise looked at her son. Handsome, brilliant, everything she had fought for. "I was cleaning their floors an hour ago." "And you'll be on stage in 2 weeks," Philippe replied. His voice was calm. "Certain. Let them watch," he added. This time from the audience. By evening, Camille's video had already spread. Only she didn't share it the way she had planned. The comments weren't mocking. They were stunned. "She plays like a professional. This is incredible. Why is a woman with this talent a maid?" It reached journalists, music forums, even reached a small cultural foundation. But the commentary changed sharply after the gala invitation leaked. Suddenly, the title of the video shifted from ridicule to curiosity. "The maid who plays like a master." Within days, sponsors called. Conservatories wanted interviews. The Beaulieu family was named. Pressure grew. People wanted answers. Why was a brilliant pianist scrubbing their floors? Marianne's father, Lucien Beaulieu, art patron and sponsor of the orchestra, was furious. "How could this happen?" he demanded. Marianne couldn't speak. She stared at the screen, watching Elise play, hearing something she had never heard before, feeling something she had never allowed herself to feel. Shame. A formal envelope arrived. Gold seal. Hand-delivered. Lucien opened it. Inside was a single card. Gala of the Cultural Foundation. Featuring a new composition. Echoes of the Forgotten. By Elise Vaillant. Performed by the composer. Conducted by Maestro Philippe Vaillant. Lucien stared. "Vaillant? As in..." "The conductor," his wife whispered. "The one from Berlin." They turned to Marianne. She was pale. "You will apologize to her when she returns," her mother said. Marianne nodded without argument. 2 days later, Elise returned for work. The atmosphere had changed. Staff whispered. Mrs. Beaulieu waited in the music room, hands folded. Marianne stood beside her, eyes lowered. Elise, Mrs. Beaulieu began slowly, I owe you an apology. We had no idea. Elise's face was expressionless. There was nothing to know. Marianne stepped forward. I'm sorry, she whispered. It was not dramatic, not rehearsed, not performed. It was trembling, raw, real. Elise studied her, then nodded. I accept. But her voice had steel. Forgiving is not forgetting, and you have much to remember. Marianne swallowed. Elise passed them both. She walked to the piano, not to play, but to dust. A maid once more. Yet nothing was the same, and everyone in that house felt it. The night arrived. Tuxedos, diamonds, champagne. The city's elite filled the opera hall. They expected prestige. They did not expect revelation. The host stepped onto the stage. Tonight, he said, we correct a cultural injustice, a talent hidden by circumstance, a voice unheard, a murmur. Please welcome Elise Vaillant. She stepped onto the stage, in a simple black dress. Hair down, no uniform. The audience gasped. Those who had seen the video whispered, that's her. She lived in their house. She cleaned their rooms. Lucien Beaulieu sank lower in his seat. Marianne stared, breath frozen. Philippe lifted his baton. Silence. Elise touched the keys, and the world changed. The piece had no introduction. It didn't need one. It began with a single, fragile note, trembling like a memory. Then another. Then a cascade. The orchestra swept in. A storm of sound. The music told a story. A young woman leaving her conservatory because she was pregnant. A husband who died too soon. A child raised alone. A dream abandoned. Hands that had once created beauty, now washing dishes, scrubbing floors. But music survived. After midnight. In secret. In the dark. Marianne felt tears spill. She didn't know she could cry like this. She had believed Elise was ordinary. Invisible. Replaceable. She had never imagined the world that lived under that uniform. The final chord echoed. Silence. Then, a roar. The audience stood. Applause thundered. Elise rose. Bowed. The moment felt holy. Alive. Eternal. After the performance, consequences arrived swiftly. Journalists cornered the Beaulieu family. Is it true you humiliated her? Lucien tried to deflect. We support talent. Then why was she your maid? Photos were taken. Articles published. Sponsors called. Quietly, discreetly, but firmly. Step back from the board. You're no longer welcome. Lucien Beaulieu's reputation, curated for decades, cracked in a single night. And Marianne? Her acceptance into the conservatory in Vienna evaporated. No explanation. No apology. Just a letter. Her new world was smaller. Quieter. She had never felt so alone. Rain hammered the city. Marianne stood outside a building she had never noticed before, the conservatory. She climbed the stairs. Her palms were sweating. She knocked. The door opened. Elise stood there. Not a maid. Not a victim. A professor. The name on the door said it clearly. Professor Elise Vaillant. Piano and composition. Marianne's voice barely came. May I come in? Elise studied her, then nodded. Marianne stepped inside. I came to apologize, she whispered. Truly, not because others told me, but because I understand now, and because I want to learn. If you will teach me. Elise turned away, walked to the window. Rain streaked the glass like tears. Why should I teach you? Because you're the only one whose music makes me feel something. And I want to feel that. I need to. Elise was silent. Then, Monday, 7 a.m. Do not be late. Marianne exhaled. It sounded like relief. Weeks passed. Marianne arrived early every day. Her technique was perfect, but Elise demanded more. Don't play me the notes. Play me the reasons. Marianne struggled. She had never been asked to reveal anything. Her wealth had been armor. Now it was useless. One morning Elise said, play the way you would if no one could judge you. Marianne closed her eyes and played. It was clumsy, raw, painful, beautiful. Elise smiled. That is a beginning. 3 months later, Marianne performed publicly. Not at a gala, not for society, for students, parents, teachers. Her piece was small, simple, but honest. When she finished, Philippe approached from the back of the room. "Elise," he murmured, "have you forgiven her?" Elise adjusted her brooch, a piano key gold. "Forgiving is not forgetting," she said. "But I am more interested in who she may become than who she was." Marianne heard. It broke her and rebuilt her. A permanent exhibition opened at the conservatory. Forgotten talents. Photographs lined the walls. Servants, refugees, single mothers, workers, people whose genius had gone unseen. In the center, 2 photos. Elise in her maid's uniform. Elise conducting an orchestra. Caption: Talent respects no uniforms. Only opportunities. One evening, Lucien Beaulieu wandered the gallery alone. He encountered Elise. "You have turned our shame into something noble," he said quietly. "No," Elise replied. "I have simply stopped hiding. What you feel, shame or pride, is a choice. We all choose." He nodded. He understood. Epilogue. Doors open. 10 young scholarship students entered the conservatory that year. Children of gardeners, drivers, cooks, cleaners. Children who had never been seen. Now they were heard. Because one woman refused to let her talent die. Because one maid sat at a forbidden piano and played. Because humiliation became revelation. Because music told the truth. Elise Vaillant walked into her classroom. Students waited. Among them was Marianne, hair tied back, eyes clear. She smiled at her teacher. Elise nodded. Outside, the city moved. Indifferent, unaware. Inside, notes rose. Life transformed. And somewhere in a mansion far away, a silent piano waited, no longer a symbol of privilege, but of possibility. Because greatness had walked its halls in uniform, and no one had seen her until the day she played.